You ready? You're listening to the Real Pineapple Podcast Network. All right, y'all. Moving on to my next review. Let's see. What do I want to review next? Okay, so actually, I want to review this because this involves a friend of the show, Romina D'Ugo. This actually came out this year, so see, suck it, Josh, of the afternoon tune. But this movie is called Byeeee. Came out in February of this year, and I was very lucky to go ahead and get a screener. Shout out to Romina for that. Wait, I'll do it like this. Actually, I'll move this over. Appreciate you, Romina. Thank you. Appreciate it. She went ahead and sent me a link to go ahead and watch this movie. And so what I really dig about this movie is it's a very small movie in terms of your characters. There are 3 characters, basically. That's it. That's really all you need to know. There's 3 characters in this movie. Romina D'Ugo plays Andy, who is this woman who goes ahead and basically goes off into the woods by herself and is determined that, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and kill myself. Like, I'm killing myself. Doesn't matter. This is where I've landed. And as you're watching the movie, you're kind of like, wait, what the fuck? Really? You're killing yourself? What could you possibly, like, what reason could you possibly have to kill yourself? And so the movie treats it like as a mystery / drama. And it's really interesting because it really is like an onion where it just kind of peels a little layer back and you're kind of like, oh, that's kind of peculiar. And then kind of peels another layer back and you're like, okay, interesting. And it just kind of keeps slowly but surely revealing itself to you in a way that once you kind of put the pieces together and realize what Andy did, you're like, oh no, oh, that's bad. Like, it's really, like, when you find out what she did, it is really bad. And like bad in a way that I was like, God damn, all right, yeah, that might do it. Like, I would never encourage someone to kill themselves, but yeah, this would be one of those things that would actually make you think about it. I know I had Romina on to talk about I love movies, or I like movies, pardon me. One thing I really love about her acting is she has this gear where she goes from, like, I mean, obviously she's gorgeous and stunning and funny. She goes from this gear of being very charming to being psycho bitch in like in like 5 seconds flat. And it's this gear that she's able to just switch on. And when in like, it's almost like you see it in her eyes, like when that switch flips and you're like, oh no, like, oh shit, what's she about to say? And what I really like about her character is that Andy's feeling the weight of her consequences, her consequences, not anyone else's consequences, but her consequences. She's feeling that weight, and that's really affecting clearly not just any relationship she has, but any interaction she has. She goes off into this town, this cabin, to go ahead and just get some supplies. She goes to like a local store, and she interacts with this person named Carl, who's played by, I'm gonna butcher her name, I'm so sorry, who's played by Juliette Amara, who you know from Irish Blood, which I've actually heard it's a pretty good show, Felicia Silverstone. But you know her from Irish Candles, just name a few. And even from that initial interaction where she goes ahead and she offers Carl some makeup, you're like, wait a minute, okay, that was a little weird, but it almost feels like she's giving her possessions away because she knows she's not going to need them. But then when you realize why she's kind of giving this away, you're like, oh, that provides a whole other bit of context in terms of why Andy is reacting the way that they are. I laughed really hard to start off the movie because Andy climbs through a window. And as someone who has climbed through a window or two in their day, I won't explain why I've done that. maybe sneaking out of the house, but you know, we don't need to talk about that. But but climbing through a window is fucking hard. I don't think people understand, especially if you're like tired or maybe a little high. Again, not saying I have been, shut up. But but climbing through windows is a pain in the fucking ass. And the way that that Romina does it actually made me laugh really hard because even the character just seems annoyed. Like, God damn it, that shouldn't have been so difficult. Also, when she actually is at the actual corner store gathering supply, getting supplies, the way that she that you have people trying to talk to you. I think we've all experienced this. I experience this at Dutch Bros all the time, where I just need my Galaxy Fish Rebel and I don't need to have a conversation. I'm just tired and I'm starting my day and I'm just like, fuck, can you please just give me my drink? Like, you seem really nice, but I just need my drink so I can I can function today. She is giving off that energy and just like her body language, and they're just like, she's kind of tapping her foot, like, all right, like thank you, you're super nice, but I don't have time for a small town shit. I just want to go to the cabin and off myself. Like, it's really interesting, the body language that Romina goes ahead and shows, and how Andy, her body language not just changes, but it really does feel like a metamorphosis in terms of how they come to acceptance in terms of what their end game ends up needing to be. I haven't mentioned him yet, but Augustus Rivers plays Ryland, who is this gentleman who goes ahead and takes care of things at the cabin that Andy is staying at. You know him from St. Pierre, The Fortunate Ones, Hell Motel, to name a few. The chemistry that Rivers and D'Ugo have here is fucking wonderful, because it really is the two of them. It's almost like a play in that sense, where it really is them at multiple points in this cabin just working off of each other. And I'd be curious to know how much room they had in terms of like improv, and in terms of maybe like adding on lines, because they have a couple really deep conversations where I was like, damn, okay, like it's going there. And given the fact that this film is talking about suicide, it needs to have these deep conversations. Like, it reminds me, this would be actually a really great double feature with that Jeff Bridges film, Fearless, that came out in like 90, I want to say 92, with him and Rosie Perez. Very underrated film if you have not checked that out, by the way. But as I'm watching this, one of the things that really struck me is how at points the house really does feel like a prison as the film goes on. Like, it feels like this is just like not just the end game, but it's really like almost of a representation of her life, her just feeling trapped. And the way that Andy even kind of talks about her upbringing, how this has always almost kind of been a battle that she's almost subconsciously fought, and that through certain experiences in her life, that's kind of spiked and it's become more relevant and become more of a focus. It's really interesting how, I've talked about it myself. Last year I wasn't working, and it's the first time in probably a decade that that thought popped up in my head, where it's like, maybe you should just end it. Like, maybe this isn't for me anymore. And it's a really humbling conversation that even have internally. And yet some of the ways that Andy has to answer some certain conversations, or answer some certain questions that are asked to her by people in terms of actually committing the act and going through with it, is really intense, and it's quite haunting at points. And I there are a couple points. There's a there's this one bit is how this movie almost has like a ticking clock aspect. Like, the movie sets you up from very early on, lets you know like she's killing herself. She's killing herself on Monday. This all takes place over a weekend. So like, it starts on Friday, and then it really is like, okay, like, is she going to follow through with this? Is she going to go ahead and do this? And it's really interesting how, as her and Andy have these conversations, or her and Ryland have these conversations about actually committing the act, um, how they both expose themselves and their insecurities and their scars in a way that it really doesn't feel like they're intentionally trying to do, but it also feels like maybe subconsciously they've been looking for a kindred spirit who can relate to their level of sadness on this level. It's really interesting, kind of that line they walk, because there's definitely some comedic moments in here. Anytime Romina is having a conversation as Andy, there's usually like a laugh or two in the scene, because Andy is just she's such a bitch at points. She's just such a she's just such a bitch. So sometimes to people who are just trying to be helpful, and Rylan in particular is like trying to like get to know her, and is like, like, what are you doing here? What do you do for work? Like, how's your week been? And Andy is just at points doing everything but saying, get the fuck away from me, until she actually basically does say, get the fuck away from me. But one thing that I mentioned in my I Like Movies review is that one thing that Romina's done an incredible job at is playing these characters that feel like they're going to be a certain way, but then they hit you with this one line of dialogue, or even just a scene where you're like, oh, that's dark, or oh, I was not expecting that. And there's a conversation that Andy and Ryland end up having later on in the film in terms of committing the act. And she says something that is so fucking cruel about Ryland in terms of why he's still here and he shouldn't be here, that I actually had to pause the movie, and I laughed. Like I laughed hard, not because it was funny, but because it was such a pointed attack intended to harm, that when you hear it, it's one of those things where you went, oh fuck, like, oh my god, this could be the thing that causes someone to actually follow through with it. Like, it's so incredibly pointed, it's so incredibly personal, that it really made me uncomfortable in a way that it's clearly supposed to. And Romina delivers this little monologue flawlessly. Ryland reacts to it flawlessly and then retorts flawlessly. And then that whole conversation is elevated in terms of how they're fighting and how their egos are clearly being brought into this, and along with their trauma. And you just see this snowball continuing to gather moss, and you'll know the scene that I'm talking about when you get to it. But it's one of those things where I was just like, god damn, this is brutal in the best way possible. I really don't want to give anything else really more away. Yeah, I really don't want to give anything. I really don't want to give anything else away on it. So I will end with one of my favorite lines in the whole movie. Andy just looks at Ryland at a point and goes, do you have any more suicide mansplaining for me? And the way and the way that she delivers the line, and given the context of just the whole situation, it's like, wow, she would drop mansplaining right now. But also, yeah, he's kind of mansplaining to you, but also, given the context, you might want someone to maybe try to talk you out of this. But in terms of a grade, I haven't letterboxed this yet. I'm going to tonight, but 4 stars easy. B+ easy. Easy B+. This is one of those movies I could definitely see some people just being like, oh, this is a little rough. And I do think for some people it will hit a little closer to home than maybe some people would intend it to. But what I would say is, I think you'll actually learn something about life, and in terms of how to tackle it, and in terms of your self-worth, and realizing that, yeah, things can be really shitty and things can get really terrible, but they're like, that doesn't have to be the answer. And that, there are people out there that love you and care about you, and want you to be the best version of yourself. And it's really interesting how there's this level of almost acceptance in terms of Andy being like, this is what I have to do, and maybe potentially being talked out of that. And the final 5 minutes, I'll say, of the movie really put an exclamation point on this that I really fucking enjoyed. I was really happy at where the film ended up. This is written and directed by Chell Stephen, who did a fantastic job. You know them from Crystal and Fine Girls prior, but I thought they did a fantastic job with this, and this would be something that I do end up like I mentioned. This will be something I buy on Black Friday, because this is very much a dark comedy, but it's a very well done one. So yeah, B+ for me for Byeeee. Definitely worth checking out. I don't know if you can rent this yet. Let me check. I'm not curious. Let's see. Let's see. So yeah, it doesn't look like it's on like you can rent it yet, but definitely eye out for this. It came out in February, so it should probably it will hit VOD at some point, I'm sure, this year. But definitely worth your time, definitely worth checking out. So yeah, a solid B+ for Byeeee. I was gonna keep going, y'all, but I'm actually at almost 2 hours, so I'm actually gonna cut it here. As far as my my stream schedule for the rest of the week, Friday, I'm gonna be doing my best of and worst of. I'm gonna knock them both out in one stream, baby, because I'm feeling that ambitious. So I am gonna figure out when I'm gonna stream on Friday, but I will post it on my socials. So definitely keep an eye out. On my socials for that. In terms of your boy, go ahead and follow me on stuff. I'm like clinical depression. I'm kind of everywhere. So you can go ahead and follow me on Instagram at jhunterreelpineapple. That's me right there. Go ahead and follow your boy. You can go and follow me there. You can go ahead and follow me on the BlueSky as well at where's my profile? You can follow me on reelpineapple.bsky.social. You can go ahead and follow me on there. And then you can also follow your boy on the YouTube. You can go ahead and follow me. Just go ahead and search The Real Pineapple. But yeah, I'm really excited to get best of and worst of out to y'all, and I am gonna have more stuff coming out next over the next couple weeks. But had some interviews I've done recently and some reviews that will accompany those. So I will be sharing more information on that on Friday, because I am gonna spend some time tomorrow recording. But I'm really excited to get best of and worst of done, and kind of put a bow on 2025 and lock in fully for 2026, because there's definitely stuff I want to watch and get out to y'all. So I will have more stuff coming up here on Friday. Like I said, best of and worst of will both release on Friday. I am going to do stream for those, so I will be doing that live and then uploading the audio Saturday morning. So definitely keep an eye out on that. But everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. Shout out to the Afternoon Tune. Shout out to Doomsday Tay. Shout out to Nick and Josh of the Afternoon Tune stopping by. Shout out to Marley Loves Movies. Thanks y'all for dropping on in. I appreciate it. For those of you who are watching after the live stream, thank you so much for tuning in. And I'll just say in closing, again, I know the world is heavy. I know the world is a lot, but please know that this world is better with you in it. You matter. You are loved. And if you need to talk to someone, please reach out. Please reach out. Seriously, please reach out to someone. But stay safe, take care of each other, give someone a hug, give someone a compliment. We could all use some more positivity. And never forget, as always, to keep it real. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see y'all Friday. Peace.